I've been waiting for you. Hey, Homeworthy. I'm Kim White, and welcome to my apartment in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
My name is Kim White. I am a makeup artist and interior designer here in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Apartment hunting in New York is stressful, anxiety-inducing. It will make your hair fall out. I landed in this apartment because of my good friend Holly. She was like, take a look at this studio apartment upstairs. I was in the middle of a breakup. I needed somewhere to go, and quickly I moved upstairs in the studio and lived there for, oh gosh, a little bit shy of 3 years. The pandemic hit, and my neighbor who was living in this unit moved away. I snapped into action and moved downstairs. So I currently live on the ground level, the garden level. Everything is set up in a railroad concept, so all of the rooms are adjoining, and it's just a long trailing apartment all the way to the backyard. So welcome to my living room. This room for me was such a challenge. There's doors and windows and openings and opening. So setting it up was tricky. But one thing for certain, I was not going anywhere without my grandmother's lamp. I love starting a room with a vintage piece, and this piece has so many memories. Like, this piece got me in trouble as a kid so much. Like, if you don't get off that chain, don't pull on that chain. Like, I would get in trouble for this. Like, look, I can do it now. But yes, this piece has so many memories. My grandmother is no longer with us, so having it in my home, it just feels like that moment where I can honor her, and I just think back to my childhood for sure with this piece. I do love incorporating other vintage pieces as well. Cherish and Facebook Marketplace are great resources for that. Like, I got these candlesticks off of Cherish. Honestly, the color palette for this space started with these tones. I knew that I wanted it to be neutral but warm. A full-size sofa would eat up too much real estate, so I opted for these banquettes. My dear friend Holly is a jack of all trades. She created these custom slip covers for the banquettes to make them fit seamlessly in a living room setting. But the sneaky bit of it, and the way that you use space in New York, like to the optimum premium effect, it is also storage. No linen closet, no problem. So seasonally, I like to change the space around, and I love a good throw. And this season, I'm working with the leather shag rug as a throw. It adds a chunky bit of texture and movement just to kind of pull the space together in a heavy, sizable way. I just love it. And I love the smell of it too. Like, leather in the home, smells delicious. So moving from a studio, I had no furniture. And now, like, I have a full apartment. So I was on Facebook Marketplace like a mad woman, just hunting. And I found some really gorgeous pieces, like this credenza here. Like, it has a history. It is old enough to still be on wheels. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know, like, this is an old piece, and it came with two. Like, I have this one and a chest of drawers, and I think I paid like $95 for the set. So I was so excited. I've been growing coleus in the apartment all summer long. Now, it's a nice way to bring in like little touches of color. And as you can see, like, this one is growing just from a grow light. They are splendid, splendid plants, easy to take care of. The only issue that I've noticed so far is fungus gnats, like gnats everywhere, but like I can deal with that. Look at how pretty this guy is. When I moved in, there was like a little heater fireplace that was sitting here, and I tucked it in this area for a good while. Recently, I was on Facebook Marketplace again, and I found a larger fireplace unit, and I went all the way to, I don't know where. I got it all the way home and I dropped it. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but I got to the door and dropped it. Glass was everywhere. So here we are. We're making it work. But I do love it. It lends itself to that like cozy, warm aesthetic that just makes a house a home for me. The fireplace, I decided to paint it black just to really make it heavy and ground this area. Who does a lot of ceramics. This is a vintage piece from Cherish that I just absolutely loved. The lady lounging on the fireplace, like there's nothing more indicative of who I am, like just laid back chill, like a lady chilling, that's me. This table has been in my life for a very long time. This was purchased on a shopping spree with my mother. I think we were at TJ Maxx in Dayton, Ohio, and we had set the table aside in the break room. And this woman was like following us around the store, like kind of like putting everything that we laid our hands on in her cart, and she tried to take my table. My mother was not having that. So as you can see, my mom won, and I've had this table in my life for a very, very long time. What I do love about it is underneath the construction allows for me to tuck, I'll tuck like blankets and some towels if need be up underneath in the hollows of this table. So it's a functional piece for me, and I've restyled it a million different ways. I have styled, restyled, and styled it again. Another sentimental piece for me, it's a very simple, sturdy option, is this chair. This was my first commercial client. I had the opportunity to style a company called Sit On It's showroom here in New York. That, like I said, that was my first commercial space that I did interiors for. And I took this chair home as a souvenir, and it's one of those things where I know, like when you walk in, you don't know, like, oh, this is baby's first commercial job. But it was. This season, I really went deep and rich with a dark rug. This is from Ruggables. It's their Architectural Digest collection. And I love the way that it pulls like the weight of the room down a bit and just makes it rich and elegant. So thank you, Ruggables, for this beautiful rug, and it just ties seamlessly with my living space, my kitchen, my outdoor space. It's just a rich addition that I love. So I don't have a bunch of space for art in this apartment, but I did incorporate a couple of images from my makeup artistry into the artwork on the space. This is a photo shoot that I did makeup for, and the photographer was like, hey, hop in, you guys have twin hair. And here we are. I saved the images, framed them, and they work very nicely and also give me that sentimental feeling of, you know, this is work that I've done, this is who I am, this is a memory. I am one of those people who has had the chance to do what I love. I recognized at a very early age that beautiful things made me comfortable. Beautiful spaces, beautiful aesthetic, beautiful clothing, beautiful makeup. And that is, I turned my love for beauty into a career in makeup. So I grew up in Ohio. I started doing makeup for my friends and family. Eventually, I started getting hired to do makeup, and I became a makeup artist. A lot of people don't recognize that Ohio has a bunch of large brands like Procter & Gamble and Limited Brands were very big when I lived there, and those were my clients. So being a little bit feisty, I noticed that I'd be on set and they'd fly someone in from LA or New York. And I remember I was on a job. This like changed the whole trajectory of my life. I was on a job and I happened to be standing like right next to the production table. And I saw the invoice for the hair person. They made triple the money that I was making. They were flown in and housed. So I was like, oh, if I'm here, then I'm not gonna mess up the shoot. But I think I need to go there to start to make money. And that is how I ended up moving. I moved to Miami first, and then I made my way to New York. All because of this invoice that I saw sitting on a desk. I was like, you will not best me. So I've been doing makeup here professionally ever since. It's been an exciting ride. Like, makeup has afforded me the opportunity to travel the world. I worked on a travel show. I've had an opportunity to work in daytime television, on, series, fashion shows, Broadway, all of those things. Makeup has put me in rooms that I would never have had entry into. And for that, I am very grateful. So when I moved into the apartment, this bathroom, it's tiny, and it was just jam-packed together. Like, the toilet was here, the sink was here, and the tub was there. And I was like, this is just not functional. So I asked, hey, what if we let the tub go and do a larger shower stall? And that way the sink can have a little bit of breathing room, a little countertop. You're not like jammed up, like brushing your teeth with like a foot on the toilet, basically. He allowed me to make some edits to this space, and it has a much better flow. And as you notice, like, there's a trend in removing the tub and having just a shower. Many hotels are doing that. And, I do have a portable bathtub for those moments when I just want to like soak. So I feel like I'm having the best of both worlds. My daily life, I still have like counter space and I can get ready, but I don't have a luxury bathtub, but I do have a functioning soaking tub. When I moved in, I was like, okay, this area, what am I going to use it for? Let's just throw some shelves up. And I like the way that they turned out. I've had a fascination with skin and beauty and bodies for a very long time. No secret, I'm a makeup artist, so of course, who's surprised? But over the years, friends and family have allowed me to turn a lens on them. And I started to take like little small intimate photos. This was taken in, Cambodia. That's me. I love an ankle bracelet moment. Also, some of my travels are reflected in, just what's around in the space. Like, for instance, a trip to Mexico. I got those 2 pressed tin pieces, and I just love them. Like, they've made their way through many an apartment. So plants in the bathroom are a yes for me. Like, plants purify the air, and I'm all about that. Like, I've gone so far to spoil my plants and to make sure that they're healthy by incorporating grow lights on all of these shelves so that they can grow and be healthy. So yes, I'm a plants in the person. I'm a plants in the bathroom type person. So when you're here, like I said, I'm a makeup artist, so I really appreciate the human form, but particularly hands. I work with my hands and I love handmade objects. So you'll find a couple of hands, my handiwork and handmade things all around my home. What I loved about this building when I moved in, even though my studio was tiny, I really love the whole Brooklyn aesthetic. This is a beautiful brownstone, exactly what Brooklyn is known for. It has such a community feel. So living here was everything that I needed at that moment. And the pandemic hit, and here I am, trucking it downstairs to a bigger unit, thank goodness. Classic garden apartment. I'm from Ohio and space is a bit more plentiful in Ohio. So when I moved to New York, I had to pare down quite a bit. So you have to be very intentional about how you decorate a space in New York. Immediately, I knew that in this apartment, I wanted to have a place for family and friends to gather for dinner, like a proper dinner table. So one of my areas, I call it the lounge. It houses my dining table, my bar is in there, my laundry room is in there, but that is where we can have a proper meal, like family style meal. So I really wanted to have a place dedicated for dining. And I was able to eke out a dining area slash lounge right in this space here. Again, I used the storage banquettes. So there's a bunch of light bulbs and tools and all of the inner workings of a home right up underneath there. But friends and family can come over and join me for a meal and we can all sit here and have a proper dinner. There's obviously banquet seating here, but I do have some sneaky storage behind these banquettes where I pull out a couple of folding chairs and have even more seating for friends and family. I love this area. It doesn't get a lot of light, so I wanted it to have reflection to ping the light around the room. I used, much like upstairs in my studio apartment, I used a bit of the gold contact paper just to like reflect the light this way. And then I took on a mirror project that almost killed me. Like I was in here sucking on fumes for days and weeks, and actually, to be honest, for months. But I'm so happy with how these antiqued mirrors turned out. This was a labor of love. I was scraping and painting and sponging, and I put some up. I didn't like them, had to take them down and start all over again. It wore me out, but I have to say it was well worth it because now that they're here, it gives such a warm reflection in this area that it just makes this space that was kind of dead because there is no window in this area. It gives it life and hominess, and it makes you want to sit down and have a meal. I love how this room turned out, and it is, of course, my handiwork. I painted these mirrors by hand. Friends can come in, they make themselves at home, grab some wine, you know, have a seat. And if it's one of those nights, I'll invite them to Club Kavos. In fact, you're invited to Club Kavos too. So right behind these doors is what I call Club Kavos. And it is not only my bar area, you know, we can make a cocktail, all of the things, but it also stores my clothes. In New York, you have to use every inch of space. So like there's sweaters and bags and belts all in these drawers here. So what is that saying? It's a party in the front, business in the back. Well, that's what's happening here in Club Kavos. I don't know if you're familiar. Kavos is one of my favorite brandies, French brandies. So I painted this bar area just to mimic, actually this is Kavos right here. I painted the bar in the same tones, just that warm, earthy, beautiful, smooth feeling of kavos like is reflected all throughout here. I took a chance and I used fine paints of Europe. Now, I don't know if you've painted much, and I absolutely hate painting, but fine paints of Europe makes a beautiful lacquer finish. This is my first go at it. So there is a learning curve and I will try it again, but for a first run, I'm pleased with how it looks. And it also bounces light in this room where there is no window. So even the doors and the ceiling of the bar bounce the light to create that cozy environment. So I recently went to Minnesota and got certified as a 3M installer. 3M makes these beautiful architectural films called Dynoc, and this is actually one of those films. The films are great in a rental situation because you can save a bit of money on like the actual buying slate for this, and I moved 2 years from now, might be cost prohibitive, but 3M's architectural films like make this area a lot more luxurious at a fraction of the cost. So I'm very excited to put my certification into use very, very soon. So the lighting in this room was important. This is also a Facebook Marketplace find. Like, you can find some great things on Marketplace. Do not poo-poo Marketplace. There are so many great things. This was a $25 purchase and the woman gave me two. So I have another one. It's not as beautiful as this one, but I have another one just this size in my storage. But yes, it was the perfect addition to a space like this. My dining table was my landlord's father's coffee table. It was in the basement here, and he was like, I know that you'll do something with this. So he gave me the table. It was on like a tree stump at first. So I took it apart and I put it on a swivel base. I'm still working through the process of this, but it does make it a lot easier for friends and I to get seated and move around. So we never have to like pull the table out for someone to enter. We can kind of just swivel the table, which has been like amazing for holidays. Making sure to utilize all the space in this apartment. Behind, we have extra seating, hiding in plain sight. And it makes for a great dinner party. It's the perfect place to entertain. And right next to the dining room is my bedroom. So this is the smallest room in the apartment. It also has no windows. It's like the perfect cave for sleeping. Like I totally hibernate in here just like a bear for sure. The bed provides a lot of storage. It is on hydraulics. It's the IKEA Malm bed, I believe. And up underneath are all of my out of season clothing and a few comforters and all of that tucked away right here. When I moved into the apartment, these closets had doors, but in order to use a queen size bed in the space, I needed to remove the doors and replace them with curtains. So I've done that just so that I can utilize the curtains without having it bump into my bed. And right at the end of the bed, you'll see I've had this trunk. I used it upstairs in my studio apartment as a coffee table. Up there, it also held my jewelry. It still does. So many years ago, a trip to Mexico, I saw this headboard by Casamity. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. So I purchased a silver one that I had for, I don't know, like 10 years. And I realized, oh, they make it in a different colorway. They make a gold version. So I reached out to the company. I sold my silver one and replaced it with the gold one. That's how much I love this headboard. I bought it twice. it's just such a conversation piece. And again, I love handmade things, and the hand craftsmanship of all of this detail really speaks to me. So I'm sure that I'll have this one for just as long. It really warms up this space. And again, when you're in these dark situations where there are no windows, the idea is to bounce the light around, and this headboard does exactly that. Just like my childhood, I've really enjoyed dressing my dresser. It's a functional space as well. I have all of my perfumes here. Like, I love fragrance. I absolutely love to smell good. I've been wearing perfume since I can remember. This is the perfect place for them. And the mirror behind kind of mimics the antiqued mirror of the lounge. It has that little edge work. So I feel like they kind of just tie in together as like a cohesive design throughout the apartment. It has like a bit of a flow. So when I was on the hunt for furniture, this piece, along with the piece in the living room, were a pair, and it has worked perfectly because it holds so much of my clothing, like so many sweaters, so many socks, lingerie, everything in here. It's the perfect addition to this tiny, tiny bedroom. So looking back in retrospect, I was that little girl who found comfort in making my room and any area that I was in cozy. Decorating my bedroom, or even just decorating my dresser, gave me comfort, safety, and a little bit of agency. So as you mature, like, I never let that go. Each apartment, every home, even boyfriend's home, I needed to make myself comfortable in. I know that's like going too far in some ways, but your bathroom's a mess. Let's get it together. So I found myself like, being open to helping people improve their space, like beautify their space, making things more comfy and cozy and functional. Okay, so right off of the bedroom is my office / spare bedroom / workout room. This is a very hard working room. I work on the computer here, friends and family spend the night here, and I also work out in this room. This room does triple duty. Right away when you walk in, here's another opportunity that I had to put the lens on friends and family, and also a self-portrait. So I'm very happy with how the warmth of that kind of set the vibe and tone of this room. This is a northern exposure, so it doesn't get a lot of light in this room. I just honored that by painting it black. Since it is so dark and heavy, having a faux fireplace in this little library area really leans into the cozy vibes of the space. Tucked away, right next to that, you'll find hard working weights for when I want to work out and pump a little bit of iron. It's all there, tucked away behind those baskets. I do love riding my bike. I go through bouts. Sometimes I ride it frequently and then other times I fall off. But right now I'm on. If you're on, find me on Peloton app and let's ride together. One of my favorite workouts is to rebound. And I find that when my rebounder is out, I do it more frequently. So with that in mind, I had it upholstered. So you enter the room and you see this beautiful ottoman, right? Well, it is also my trampoline. So this is me in the mornings working out here. It's one of my favorite workouts, truly. I like to just hop on the trampoline every now and then. It helps me clear my thoughts or think through something. It's one of those things where you can get up and it makes you feel invigorated. So Having this in the center of the room is a true health benefit for me. Stress relieving, all of those things right here in the center. And when I'm done, it's the perfect place for friends and family to kick up our feet and watch a little bit of television. So I've had this chest for a good while now. I bought it back when chat rooms were a thing, and I was searching for furniture. I'd never been to Morocco, and I was kind of like in this Moroccan chat room. And I met a woman there who was like, oh yes, I have all of this beautiful furniture. And she started sending pictures, and this was one of the pieces. And I purchased it from her. And again, it's one of those things that I've styled in a bunch of different ways, and it has followed me to a bunch of different apartments. And it's a piece, a statement piece that I plan to keep for an eternity. So the heart of every home is the kitchen. And when I moved into this unit, the kitchen it had seen better days. My landlord was very gracious and offered me the opportunity to design this kitchen and utilize the space how I saw fit. So immediately we took down a single row of cabinets and took them all the way to the ceiling. The ceilings are relatively low. Like, I mean, you can see I can touch them, but taking it to the ceiling makes this room look a lot more expansive. So I wrapped the cabinets around a corner, and I used a couple of medicine cabinets actually to finish off the cabinets in this area. And as you can see, like, they're very shallow, but they hold quite a bit of objects in there, like my teacups and different teas and whatnot. I also added some shelving for storage, but also, to give the kitchen a bit of a vibe. Of course, I have my cake plates and little tchotchkes here and there. Like, I love ducks. There's a duck in my life, and I kind of follow that throughout my home also. I said I'm sentimental. I'm very, very sentimental, and these people know who they are when they're reflected in the space. But yeah, people are represented all around my home. Up on the shelves, a few cookbooks. My dish towels are here. My mom's old Vision cookware. I recently had her send that to me. Like, there was something about looking at things boil in Vision's cookware when I was a kid. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I need that here. So she sent that recently, and I use it. I'm happy to have it. And it means something to me. It's like the story of my childhood in some ways. Recently, I started to dabble a bit with AI. I hopped on and created this art piece here on the shelf, really and truly just to hide the cords to my lighting. But it turned out so nice. I'm happy to have it there. I'm calling it Fruits of My Labor, and it's actually on my website. There's a free digital download. So if you're interested, hop on kimwhitestyle.com and you can find it there and download it for yourself if you like. What really set this kitchen off, I'd have to say, is the wallpaper on the cabinets. And it is a design. I'm a huge fan of Copacabana stone. And I knew that wasn't an investment that I would want to make in a rental, but I did want to have that look. So I created this wallpaper to mimic that stone. And as you can see, I wrapped all of my cabinets in it, and it gives this kitchen a lot of movement and personality. I really love the way that it turned out. And again, it is one of those things that I have on my website. This one is for purchase, but if you're interested, you can definitely grab this wallpaper as well. As you saw, like, my dining area is a little bit dark, and I wanted to follow the sun. I bought this console and this like little stool so that I could sit at the window and have my breakfast, have my coffee when the weather isn't nice outside, so that, so I can, when the weather isn't such that I can go outside, I like to sit in this window and just like feel the sun on my on my face. For a very long time before I found just the right piece, I had stretched out an ironing board and I had a little stepping stool, and I was just sitting at the ironing board eating breakfast. My friends were cracking up like, why is that iron in your kitchen? It was all just to get a feeling of what the size constraints were in this space without making it feel too tight or too cramped, because I mean, I can stretch my arms out and we're pretty much taking up the width of this whole kitchen. It's not a very big kitchen. It's not very tall and it's not very wide. So each piece has to be carefully picked so that you don't feel overwhelmed in the space. And this one, I'd looked for a while for root tables, but you could never get one that was guaranteed that my legs could slide up underneath. This one from Front Gate is a cast replica of the root tables. So I knew what I was ordering and I knew that my legs would slide up underneath, and it has been a great piece for me. It has served me well. Accompanied by a stool, which of course has more storage. Yeah, it's been a great place for me to just like take my coffee in the morning and gather my thoughts. The kitchen it's packed. I like to eat and I like to cook, so all of these cabinets are chock full of stuff. And I've made sure to arrange them in a way that is also functional. Like my bread boxes in here, all of my spices. I didn't have a pantry and I kept racking my brain like, how can I get a pantry in here? I need some more storage space for food. And it finally hit me to use the space behind the door. So here we are, behind the door storage, double wide. So here we have all of my pantry goods, all of my dry goods here on these shelves that are attached to the wall, and the doors are, I found on Facebook Marketplace, I can. The doors were added later, but the shelves are attached to the wall, and it gives me like a shallow amount of space, but it holds so much. And that wasn't enough. So I started thinking again, like, how can I get even more? Let's push over more to the door. So I added a few more shelves in this area too. For all of my canned goods. Like I said, I love to cook, I love to eat, and I wanted to be able to make this space functional for me. So there's storage behind the door here, but when you open the door, this is my favorite part of this apartment, the outdoor space. So as I continue to grow and have the opportunity to express myself, whether it's through makeup or designing interiors, I recognize that I want to share it with a broader audience. So I am going to start a YouTube channel up again, and that way I can film some of the projects that I'm doing and share them and hopefully inspire some of you guys out there with what I'm doing and why. The why, the how, and of course, make it functional and fabulous. The kitchen. And what I love about this area, since you have such a great view of the yard, the two spaces mingle together. So it's just an extension of the way that I want to live, like right out of the window. So one of my favorite parts of the apartment is this outdoor space. I snuggle up in this corner and have my morning coffee. It is the one place in the yard that has a bit of privacy. Like it's kind of tucked up under here, so they don't see me, they don't see me, they don't see me. And I come out here in my PJs and sit and have coffee in the morning. When I first moved in, all of this was just rubble. So immediately I knew that I wanted to have a seating area. So we carved out a path and built a deck at the end of the yard. It's the perfect place to have it because there's a tree line there, and in the spring, the beautiful magnolia flowers overhang atop of the deck, and it's just like the perfect situation. It's very lovely. But like I said, the yard was filled with garbage, so it seemed like mulch was my best and most affordable option. So I mulched the yard. My friend Denise, she's a scrappy one. She brought over all of this pachysandra, and over the last couple of years that I've been here, it has filled in nicely. And as you see, it's about to flower. She brought the ferns as well, just loaded them up in a truck and we planted them. Even the baby maple. And all of that stuff is growing so nicely now. And each year I try to make a couple of different additions. Some have worked, some have not. Like I bought a ton of seeds and none of them grew. This year I bought some honeysuckle. It didn't do so great. The ivy, a few sweet potato plants, some jasmine. But yes, trying to create a zen, comfortable moment for myself in the middle of this urban environment. It's the perfect place to grab a book, to just chill out. In the summer, the evenings, you know, the string lights come on and we're out here, we're having conversation, playing music, having a cocktail. It's a great place to lounge, and you forget that you are right in the middle of a bustling city. It's my own oasis back here, and I'm really, really grateful for it. One of the things that inspired me in the design of this space is to bring the same feelings and the same vibe, the same energy from inside outdoors. So I'm test running, you know, a bunch of different materials to see if they can handle the elements. Like for instance, this marble table, it's been out here now for a couple of years. This year I sealed it and it's been handling the elements nicely, but there's a movement towards outdoors feeling like outdoor living rooms. And this feels like you're inside my home, honestly. One of the things that is key when you live in New York is to try your best to avoid rats. Now, this is a serious conversation. So when we built this deck, we did a trench method. So all around the perimeter of the deck is a buried chicken wire. So you go about a foot deeper than the actual deck with the chicken wire so that rats don't take domicile up underneath your deck. Obviously, it's New York. You're gonna see a rat or two, but that right there, like if rats were like constantly moving back and forth in this yard, I wouldn't even be out here. So just that's key when you're really thinking about designing an outdoor space here in New York. My super, who is lovely, it came out here and I'm like, I want the deck to have an organic feel to it. So we placed the planks just as you would uniformly. And then later on, we went in and gave it the curves and movement so that this area wouldn't feel so blocky. As a renter, I wanted to make sure that cost-wise, I wasn't spending too much. So I opted for all solar lighting out here. So the string lights are solar, all of the spotlights are solar as well. Each of them does have a switch, so they can be turned off. I know that has been mentioned in the past. You can turn off a solar light, just so you know. That's a cost-effective way of getting lighting in a situation when you don't have electricity to run towards it. Home for me is a place where I can totally decompress. It is a place where I recharge. It's the place where I get my best ideas. I feel serene. I feel complete. Yeah, home it's my nest.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.